Good morning. Good morning to all of you joining us here in the chapel and on YouTube. We're especially glad to have those of you who may be with us for the first time and hope to see you again soon. I'd like to remind you to please silence your cell phones or other devices at this time. I am your worship leader today, Jeanne Mooney, and our speaker is Marjorie Speirs. She is a lay speaker from the UU Church of Vancouver. Marjorie is a recovering attorney, a gardener, and a writer. She has a master's in applied theology from Marylhurst University. Eastrose Fellowship sits on the occupied territory of the Clackamas Chinook people, who were forcibly displaced from this land to the Grand Ronde Reservation in 1855. We acknowledge the sacrifices endured by the ancestors of this land, and that our presence here today is only possible because of the injustices committed against them. We recognize the inherent sovereignty of the Chinook Nation and Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, who carry on the traditions, history, and legacy held by their ancestors from time immemorial to this day. We seek meaningful relationships with these communities that foster repair. Let's take a moment now to greet our neighbors, greet each other here today, both in the chapel and online. Please stand and face the cameras back there by the clock. Wave hello. And turn to your neighbor and say hello. Just like Pavlov's dogs. For our online guests, if you would like to share a joy or sorrow during that portion of the service, you can do so by entering it in the YouTube chat, and those will be shared aloud with everyone. I also encourage you to identify yourself in the chat so we may better acknowledge your presence with us here today. Our call to worship is Any Hopes in Our Hearts by Rebecca Savage. Welcome, beloveds, welcome. We come to spiritual community this morning with many hopes in our hearts. The hope for inspiration, the hope for comfort, the hope for renewal. In this time and space, may inspiration water our thirsty souls. In this time and space, may comfort blossom in the gardens of our hearts and bring us sweet relief. In this time and space, may renewal course through us, as electric as a surge of energy, as serene as a nourishing meal, as contagious as joy, and bring us vitality and rejuvenation. May our time together honor all of the hopes we hold within. May our time together bless us with the gifts of inspiration, comfort, and renewal. Let us worship together. thank you. As we light the chalice, I have a reading by Diego Valeri. You who have an eye for miracles, regard the bud now appearing on the bare branch of the fragile young tree. It's a mere dot, a nothing, but already it's a flower, already a fruit, already its own death and resurrection. We light our chalice in peace and friendship. Please rise now as you are willing and able in body or spirit and sing number 38 in the gray hymnal, Morning Has Broken. The words will be on the screen.
Right, good morning. Have you ever seen a flower? Have you ever been a flower? These are questions asked in today's story, Have You Ever Seen a Flower by Sean Harris. We see flowers all around us, but do we really look at them? What can flowers teach us? Maybe more than we think. When we slow down and really pay attention to a flower, touching its petals, smelling its fragrance, looking deeply at all of its parts, that's mindfulness. And when we see how we're connected to flowers and to all living things, that's a spiritual experience. Flowers can teach us so much about growth, strength, and finding beauty everywhere. You'll see some beautiful pictures and bright colors on the screen as I read. This is Have You Ever Seen a Flower? Have you ever seen a flower? I mean, really. Seen a flower. I mean, way down in the clover with your face down in a flower. Have you ever seen a flower using nothing but your nose? Breathe deep. What do you see? Raindrops made of honey, the knees of bumblebees, a fancy lady, dancing babies at the Royal Jelly Jubilee. Have you ever seen a flower so deep you had to shout, "Hello," and listen for an echo just to know how deep it goes? And did you wonder if you wandered down between its golden columns and into its corridors, who you might meet? Maybe a tiny queen? Have you ever felt a flower? Do a flower petal's veins feel like the veins beneath your skin? Have you ever pricked your finger or fallen on your knee and seen the brilliant color of your life? Life is inside you. Life is all around you. Now put your hands on your belly and say, "This is my stem." Now sip a drip of water and stand very still. Feel it slip and trickle all the way down to your roots. Do you feel yourself growing? Do you feel yourself stretching toward the sun, ready to burst and bloom? Have you ever been a flower? I mean, really been a flower. And if you were, would you remember? Try and see. So the next time you see a flower, remember to really look, and maybe you'll discover what it feels like to be one too. And now we'll say goodbye to the grown-ups and go exploring in RE. If the adults along the center aisle will form a bridge, we'll sing the children out.
I invite you now into a quiet time. If you are comfortable, close your eyes, place your feet on the floor, uncross your arms, and drop your shoulders. Take a big inhale and exhale. Then begin your intentional breathing. 4 beats in slowly through your nose, 5 or 6 beats out through your mouth in a steady rhythm, creating peace and spaciousness as you move from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, grounded on the earth. Please remain seated as we sing number 1, 2, 3 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life. The words will be on the screen. The Rainbow by William Wordsworth. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. Barbara? I believe there are multiple paths to a relationship with the mystery that many call God, that I am most comfortable calling the divine or the ground of our being. Obvious examples include prayer, meditation, worship, and ritual. For me, the primary path is gardening, in which I experience all of these. With my hands in the earth, I am able to touch what I have never found inside any church, the presence of the divine at work in the world. In the garden, I have grown in patience, reverence, stillness, trust, and wonder. And in the garden, I have found lessons both about the nature of the divine and about how to live a life that is congruent with my faith. So what does this have to do with natural piety? And what is natural piety anyway? This is a phrase that I borrowed from the poet William Wordsworth. One day, while I was working in my garden, these lines from Wordsworth came into my head. I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. It had been quite a few years since I had read these lines as a college English major. But those English major days were very important to me, and many lines of poetry have stayed with me through the years. That day in my garden, those lines from Wordsworth kept repeating in my head. I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. I remembered that these had been the closing lines of the short poem that I read to you a few moments ago, and had been repeated as the epigraph to a much longer poem with the very long title, Ode on Intimations of Immortality from Recollections of Early Childhood, also known as the Intimations Ode. Since Wordsworth had used the lines twice, they must have been important to him. But what did they mean? If piety, as my dictionary tells me, is the state or quality of being pious, especially religious devotion and reverence to God, and if pious means having or exhibiting religious reverence, earnestly compliant in the observance of religion, what then is natural piety? Is the term an oxymoron? The earnestly compliant part of the definition might lead us to so conclude. But my exploration of Wordsworth's use of the term leads me to a different conclusion, one that is congruent with the definition of natural as present in or produced by nature. So let's look at where Wordsworth was coming from and what he was talking about when he referred to natural piety. The poet, who lived from 1770 to 1850, was one of the poets now known as the English Romantics. These poets rejected the 18th century belief in a mechanized universe, and also the dualism that marked their time. And by dualism, I am referring to the view that each living thing is separate from all other living things, and that God exists separately from the created world. In contrast, the English Romantics embraced an intuition of a living cosmic unity. For Wordsworth, like his fellow Romantics, God, or the divine, was not something separate and out there, but was inseparable from nature, which for him held a mystical power. As he described in one of his poems, in nature he experienced a motion and a spirit that impels all thinking things, all objects of all thought, and rolls through all things. Wordsworth believed that the din and distractions of the cities created by the Industrial Revolution were causing men to lose their connection with nature. In the preface to his lyrical ballads, he wrote, "A multitude of causes unknown to former times are now acting with a combined force to blunt the discriminating powers of the mind and unfitting it for all voluntary exertion, to reduce it to a state of almost savage torpor. The most effective of these causes is the increasing accumulation of men in cities, where the uniformity of their occupations produces a craving for extraordinary incident, which the rapid communication of intelligence hourly gratifies." Mind you, these words were written in 1800. We can only imagine what he would have to say about the rapid communication in our perpetually plugged-in lives. In response to these distressing influences, Wordsworth famously wrote, "The world is too much with us late and soon. Getting and spending we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon." And how would Wordsworth have us escape the world that is too much with us and regain our hearts? This is where natural piety comes in. My explorations have led me to conclude that for Wordsworth, natural piety was a quality of reverent alertness or attention, which leads to consciousness of the divine in all of nature and recognition of the unity of all creation. This was a recognition achieved not through reason, but through what Wordsworth called wise passiveness, which was for him a childlike presence and reverence, free of dogma or theological argument. It was a state of awareness that arose not from the mind, but from intuition and his mystical experience of nature. In childhood, by his own description, Wordsworth was often unable to think of external things as having external existence. He said, "I commune with all that I saw as something not apart from, but inherent in my own immaterial nature." The memory of this experience formed the basis for much of Wordsworth's adult spirituality. Indeed, in his Intimations Ode, he laments that although heaven lies about us in our infancy, shades of the prison house begin to close upon the growing boy. For Wordsworth, the innocence lost as we grow into adulthood was not just a matter of experience crowding out natural wonder. It was for him a loss of the memory, retained briefly in childhood, of the divine source or unity from which we have come. In the Intimations Ode, he mourns the loss of consciousness of this celestial light that fades as we mature. And yet he concludes the poem with a celebration of the hints of this childhood state that he finds in communion with nature. He wrote, "I love the brooks which down their channels fret, even more than when I trip lightly as they. The innocent brightness of a newborn day is lovely yet. To me the meanest flower that blows can give thoughts that do too often lie too deep for tears." And so we see that for Wordsworth, the task of the adult was to try to remember and retain the sense of wonder and unity that comes naturally to the young child. And it was in nature that he continued to experience this unity, even as a young adult. In the childlike state of wise passiveness that is natural piety, he felt himself able to see into the life of things and to glimpse the unity that underlies all of life. So now that we know a little bit about natural piety, let's get back to my garden. Gardening is for me a spiritual practice. In the same way that Wordsworth found his experience of natural piety in England's Lake District, I find that I am most able to experience it in my own garden. In the truest sense of natural piety, while gardening, I experience a childlike, uncomplicated relationship with my surroundings. My mind empties and the world becomes a simple place where one task follows another in an easy rhythm. I do not so much think as feel what to do next. In this condition of wise passiveness, I both experience and learn about the divine. Here are some of the things I have experienced and come to understand in my garden. In the garden, I learn again and again that I am not in control. When I began gardening in earnest some 40 years ago, I quickly learned that although I can tend and coax and even have a sense of sharing in the mystery of creation, I'm doing no more than participating in an ongoing process, a process decidedly not of my own making. Sometimes I am able to carry this acceptance over into the rest of my life. And I've discovered that it is the process of gardening, not the result, that holds the most meaning for me. Although there is always more to do in the garden than there are free hours of fine weather, the to-do list that haunts the rest of my life does not rule my garden time. Understanding that I am not in control allows me to accept each gardening moment for what it is, without the expectation of ever being finished. The repetitions and physical exertions of gardening allow my ego to recede and leave me in a quiet place of simple presence. The poet Wendell Berry captures the presence that comes of entering into gardening tasks. He wrote, "Sowing the seeds, my hand is one with the earth. Wanting the seed to grow, my mind is one with the light. Hoeing the crop, my hands are one with the rain. Having cared for the plants, my mind is one with the air. Hungry and trusting, my mind is one with the earth. Eating the fruit, my body is one with the earth." I call this oneness, this sense of presence, my creatureliness. When I am rooting about in the earth without a thought in my head, I feel like a small animal going about its business. I am neither male nor female, young nor old. I simply am. I feel as if I have reclaimed my place in the natural world. This, for me, is the essence of natural piety. Gardening is my meditation and my prayer. It takes me out of my mind and brings me back to my body, allowing me to experience the presence of the divine with all of my being. So much of modern life engages the mind alone, much more, I think, than was the case 200 years ago when Wordsworth wrote that the world is too much with us. In the words of the poet and environmentalist Robinson Jeffers, "A little too abstract, a little too wise. It is time for us to kiss the earth again. It is time to let the leaves rain from the skies. Let the rich life run to the roots again." Cars, computers, and smartphones make it easy to lose touch with our essential nature. In the garden, we remember our bodies and feel our connection with the other living things that thrive there. And we can learn from these other things to be completely ourselves. The garden provides an antidote to Wordsworth's lament that little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. In the garden, we are able to notice nature, and in so doing, to regain our hearts. And we can do more than regain our hearts. Gardening fosters attention to the mysteries unfolding all around us. Seeds become plants, buds become blossoms. At the end of the growing season, perennial plants die back, and leaves tumble into compost. And then the whole process starts all over again. On a good day, we can feel the rightness of things as they are and as they unfold. We may not know the reason for the unfolding, but we can feel our part in it and know that it is good. Natural piety is a kind of reverence, and this reverence is encouraged by a sense of wonder. So much of what we do in our lives beats down rather than encourages wonder. We should seek out those activities that encourage wonder and reverence. For me, gardening is such an activity. Really feeling my place in the stream of life, in the unity of all, I feel reverent. I love to walk around my garden with a cup of tea in the early morning, looking for the surprise growth that has unfurled itself overnight, and enjoying the way the early light falls just so. And I must return at day's end to experience the garden in the slant of evening light. I celebrate the miraculous return every spring of plants that have fallen dormant over the winter, and the return of birdsong after winter's quiet. The knowledge that nature has performed its miracles for eons and will go on with its pageant long after we have gone is cause not only for celebration, but also for gratitude. To be a part of this unfolding, even for a little while, is a privilege. In the words of the Irish poet and mystic John O'Donoghue, it is a strange and magical fact to be here, walking around in a body, to have a whole world within you and a world at your fingertips outside you. It is an immense privilege, and it is incredible that humans manage to forget the miracle of being here. Gardening is a means of remembering the miracle of our lives and of all of creation. Finally, I think that experiencing and participating in the cycles of the garden can help us to adjust to the idea of our own deaths and to understand that our lives, like the lives of the plants in our gardens, are transient gifts that we are privileged to experience for a while before they return to take another place in the great unfolding. Gardening makes it possible for me to pray with Wendell Berry. When I rise up, let me rise up joyful like a bird. When I fall, let me fall without regret, like a leaf. May it be so. Thank you. Please rise as you're willing and able, in body or spirit, to sing number 163 in the Gray Hymnal, For the Earth Forever Turning.
Thank you.
Each week, we take an offering to support this church and to share with a local organization doing good works in our community. We have partnered with NAYA, the Native American Family Center, since October, and our partnership runs through today. The Eastrose board is in the process of choosing another partner or partners starting in September. NAYA serves Native Americans across the metropolitan area. Their mission is to enhance the diverse strengths of our youth and families in partnership with the community through cultural identity and education. As an urban Indian agency, NAYA impacts the lives of over 10,000 individuals from more than 380 tribal backgrounds annually. If you are attending online, you may donate by visiting our website and clicking the donate button, or you may scan the QR code on the screen if you are here for the first time. If you are here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass and truly be our guest. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully received. Please remain seated and sing our song of gratitude. Number 1010 in the teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. The words will be on the screen. I have some words by Julian of Norwich. Be a gardener, dig a ditch, toil and sweat, and turn the earth upside down and seek the deepness and water the plants in time. Continue this labor and make sweet floods to run and noble and abundant fruits to spring. Take this food and drink and carry it to God as your true worship. announcements. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who had something to do with the service today. And we had a missing joy. James Ford and Raquel are celebrating Styx's first birthday, and they miss us all. Next Sunday's service will have the water communion. Bring some water that represents something meaningful to you. A commemoration to Gaza will also be included. For more information, you can ask Kim Smith. And she's raising her hand there. Raise your hands high if you remember the Maynards. Oh, wow, okay, quite a few. Many Eastrosians may remember Jane Maynard. She gave us a jingle the other day after seeing Reverend Barbara Stevens at Sunnybrook. Jane has shattered her kneecap and is in a care home until her home is ready for her to return. In the meantime, Jane would love to have visits. The telephone number is in the Petals office, in Petals, or see the office, and sign the Get Well card that's in the office. And Keen has some things to say.
It's on the opposite side. Okay. Just several things, actually. First one is Snowcap is this coming Friday. We have moved it up a week because they had a conflict, and so they moved us. So anybody that would like to come and help out with Snowcap, kind of peek behind the curtain, you might say, to see how they operate. 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock Friday at the Snowcap office on Stark. Second thing, we're going to do a work party in the yard here on the 6th from 9 till 12 for anybody that can or will come. We would always welcome your efforts. There's always stuff to be done around here, and it's supposed to be pretty nice that morning. So please come and join us and spend a little time. Third thing, there are vegetables in the back. Please do not force me to take them home. I think that's it.
I'm Katie. I'm your board president, and I wanted to announce that starting Tuesday, the preschool is open, will be open. So this is great, and we're going to bring flowers and a card and welcome them and such. But I want to remind everyone that from now on, we should not come in the building between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday without arranging it with the office, or you will have to ring the doorbell at the front and the preschool will let you in, because they've got very strict policies about who can enter the building, and we need background checks on our volunteers and things like that. They will log you in. The only people who have free reign will be Rev Robin and Cheryl. And then also never, ever, ever come in through the Thatcher room door unless you know for certain that they are not here. This is just going to help protect the kiddos and their licenses and all that. So thank you for that. We're also going to have a checklist of things that we need to make sure we're doing if we are here in the building after hours. Like if we're here having a meeting or the choir's meeting or something, we need to make sure that things are cleaned up properly so that they can start their day fresh with things the way they're supposed to be. So I'll be putting that together, and I'm coming in tomorrow to do the flowers and make sure the cleanup is done and all that. So just letting y'all know.
Kate,
Yeah.
mention the time frame that they are in there.
It's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
So if you have something to do after 6 p.m.
Yes, but we have Monday night choir, Wednesday night church, Thursday night indivisible. I mean, we've got all, so you have to check with the office on using the building anyway. So just know that you should not come in before 6 p.m. is what we're telling people. So Monday through Friday. Any questions? All right, thanks. Thanks for your attention.
The unison benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all needs. The service has ended. It's now time for social time. Coffee and conversation in the narthex. Go in peace.